put God in the center. And Noah did everything that God told him to do. Can you imagine in your life, brothers and sisters, doing everything that God tells you to do? Mark Batterson, in his book All In, which is what the sermon series is based on, and if you are in a life group at 9 o'clock, you've probably talked somewhat about this. He says it's kind of like if you're going to be all in and if you're going to do everything God tells you to do and if you're going to follow Jesus, it's going to be like packing your coffin. Now, I've never heard that expression, but Mark explains in his book that there were missionaries that literally knew that when they were called by God and they went out into the mission field, it was a one-way trip. And so they knew that they needed to pack just the bare essentials for their life in order to follow Christ, and they all put it in their coffin because they also understood that they would probably die in this place. It's an interesting concept, and it really was quite successful because they literally lived among the people as though they would never return home again. In seminary, I had Dr. Lovett Weems, who is an incredible force in leadership development. And I sat in one of his classes on leadership, and he told me this that has stayed with me. He said, when you get to your first pastorate, he said, here's what I think that you need to do. You need to love those people as though you are never going to be moved. Which I kind of chuckled because we're United Methodist and we're in the itinerant system. But he said, you really have to have the frame of mind that you're going to love these people and you're going to be part of this church and you're going to die with them. You'll always be with them. But he said at the same time, don't be bound or tied to anyone or anything. Now to me, that's a paradox. But that is the paradox that Noah had to deal with in saying, I'm going to surrender everything in my life and I'm going to be all in and I'm going to do this extraordinary thing that I have no idea what it is. I'm building an ark. And I'm going to spend many years on it, and I'm not going to give up, even when I do not hear the voice of God. Even when I don't experience God, I have heard what I am to do, and I'm all in, and I'm going to do it. Is what Jesus reflects for us when he says, if you want to follow me, then you need to deny yourself and take up the cross, because if you want your life, you need to lose your life. And if you want to keep your life, you're going to lose eternal life. And so we're in this quandary where we're understanding that being all in is pretty difficult. It's a high calling for us to live a life of luxury that we live in this country, of being all in and yet being obedient to go all out for your all in all. We like being comfortable. And so I hope that this week you take some time and you take your plug-in study guide and you meet with someone. You take the necessary time to work out and to struggle. What does it mean for me to pack my coffin? What does it mean to me to be all in and to go all out for Jesus, my all in all? Last week, I took a week of vacation and we went down to Virginia Beach, and it's a tradition now for the last 3 years that we scoop Steffi up, and she misses her first day of preschool. We're wondering if we can do that when she's a senior. I'd rather doubt it, but we're going to try. We scoop her up and she says goodbye to Mommy and Daddy because she says, this is my trip with Papa and Gigi. And we take her to the beach and we play in the sand and we go in the waves and we have a delightful time. But as we were coming up, our hotel sat right on the beach, and so we could go back and forth, and we did that many times. As we're coming up, we saw this gentleman on the bench. We thought that he was just sitting there, so we really didn't pay him any mind. We just said hello, and we walked in and we walked out. But the more that we went by, we realized that this was not just someone who was resting. This man had claimed the bench at the beach. In fact, he had a nice red cushion on his bench. He had an umbrella on the side of his bench, and he had a little duffel bag underneath. And pretty quickly I realized that I was looking at someone who did not have a home. There's a gentleman on down the boardwalk who was doing the same thing. He had claimed a bench. Now, I tend to look at life and I always ask, Lord, what is it that you have to teach me? What can I learn? What can I see? What can I hear? Mold me, Lord, in life experience. And so I remember specifically praying and saying, Lord, is there something that I need to see here? I was also preparing in my head this sermon about being all in and packing your coffin and trying to figure out what are the essentials that I need to follow Jesus. Like, what's really important? My house is so full. My life is so full. My bank account is full enough. What does it mean to pack my coffin? Like, can I stuff it all in? And the Lord started to teach me. I almost became obsessed with this man because my window was overlooking it, so I could look from the 8th floor down on him without even knowing that I was staring at him. And so when we were up in the room, I just always ended up at the window and I would watch. He had basically everything he needed. He was on a bench, and very close to him was one of those showers that you rinse off when you come off the beach. You know what I'm talking about? And he'd go over there, and once a day or twice a day, he'd go under that shower when no one else was there, and he'd rinse off. Then pretty soon, I'd see him go underneath, and he'd open up his duffel bag, and he'd take out a plastic bag that I could see from the 8th floor, had a roll of toilet paper. There was a porta potty right down on the beach. He would go down to the porta potty, and then he'd come back. And somehow, magically, in the morning, when I'd look out, he'd have this container, and he would be eating breakfast. I thought, wow, how can he live on a bench in Virginia Beach day after day after day? And that was kind of odd because different times of the day, I would see different people coming up and sitting down and talking to him. And they'd stay for a while, and they'd chat back and forth, and then they'd be on their way, and pretty soon someone else would come and they'd sit. See, this man had a community. He had relationships. By the time we left Virginia Beach, my pity for this man had turned into absolute admiration and respect. And it taught me, wow, you can do it with a duffel bag, an umbrella, and a cushion. And I came home, and I looked at my house, which is very full. I looked at my life, which is very full. Now, this is not a sermon that I'm going to be preaching to you to sell everything you have and to go and live out on the street and to be poor. Actually, all in has little to do with what we possess. All in has much to do with our hearts. It's being all in the depths of our hearts and being able to say, Lord, I'm giving you my life. And I'm going to follow you in every way that I possibly can. I have friends that love to skydive. I can't imagine it. But they have told me that it's the most exhilarating, the scariest, the riskiest feeling when they're up in the plane and the door is opened and they're ready to jump. And usually there's another person in the plane and they just give you a gentle little nudge. And they say when you're standing there, and you're just standing there and the wind's whipping and this person's going to give you a nudge, it is the moment of decision. Because they say you need to decide, are you all in? And you have a choice at that moment that you can say, not today. Thanks. Great ride. Not today. Or you take that decision and you say, yeah, I'm all in. And you let that push. And they said at that point, you know that you're committed. You know there's no turning back. Have you ever seen someone going up, not going down? It doesn't happen. Like you're all in, right? You have no choice after that. And that's what Jesus is trying to tell us is when our hearts are surrendered. And when we say, you know what? It's not about me. It's never been about me. I want it to be about you, Jesus. I want to follow you. And so I want to hear the things that you need me to hear. I want to see the things that you need me to see. And I want to do the things that you want me to do. Now, can I just be honest with you? I'm always honest with you. But can I be really honest with you today? Because I think that we, as followers of Jesus, we kind of have it backwards. What we say is, well, you know what? We'll just be good people. And we're not going to commit these sins of what we call sins of commission. So we're not going to do bad things. I'm really good at this. I mean, I'm a pastor. I better be good at this. Like, I know not to get in places that are going to cause me to sin. I kind of know that. Like, I know to stay away from sin. And I think most of us are probably pretty good with sins of commission. So you know not to do the things that you're not supposed to do, right? Is anyone not too good? No, you don't have to tell me. But there's this other sin, these two kinds of sin, and that's called sins of omission. This one gets tricky. This one I'm not so good at. Sins of omission is when I hear God when I hear God telling me, Jan, could you go down and talk to the man on the bench and just tell him that I love him? Well, Lord, I got Steffi, and I'm just, this is her weekend, and I'm kind of busy. Omission. Jan, maybe could you spend a little bit more time with me in prayer? Hey, Lord, I give you the first of my morning. I got a whole lot of stuff in that office to do, and I've got visits to do, and so why don't you just come along for the ride? Are you hearing me? Let me put it pretty practical, but let me get in my little Fiat Pop first. Cute little car. So I'm just driving along. Oh, life is good. I'm joyful. I'm happy. Yes. Oh, hi, Jesus. Oh, it's good to see you. Hey, Jesus, would you like to come along? Because I would love you to be in my life, and I'm on this journey, and it'd be awesome. Yeah, you would? Okay, here you go. There's room. Yeah, lots of room. You're not too tall, are you? So Jesus, isn't it great? Like, look at the scenery. Look at these people. They're great. Just love them, right? You say what? Oh, yeah, I do see him alongside the road. You want me to do what? You know what? I got a meeting. Let's talk about that later, but I really have a lot to do. Good to have you with me. Yeah. You say what? Oh. This isn't working for you? My driving's not good? I'm a good driver, a little lead foot, but not bad. Really? You want to drive? I don't let too many people drive my pop. I mean, Ryan wants to learn, but a little scary. You really want to drive? Well, all right, I guess. So, there you go. Oh, yeah, I can get used to that. That feels good. Yeah. Oh, no, wait a minute. Make a left. No. Today, make a left. Jesus, make a left. No? Oh, you're driving, right? Well, can we go a little faster? Because I have a lot to do. Why don't you just bless me, and I'll go back to driving. Just bless me. It's not how it works. You mean I'm just going to have to stay in this seat for the rest of my life and give up all that control? Oh. You know what, Jesus? I think I'd rather drive. But you're welcome to come along. I think I am more comfortable driving. Where are you? Are you in the driver's seat? Afraid that if you would take that step, that somehow you'd lose control, somehow it would be out of your control and you wouldn't know what to do? Do you go back and forth with, well, Lord, today you can drive. But when things get really tough, or I don't hear from you, or something comes at me and it's just really hard, then I'm going to take the driver's seat because I happen to think that I drive a little better than you do. You see, in order to be all in, we have to allow the Holy Spirit to mold us and to shape us. It's about being consecrated, being set apart, being made holy. And I can't do that for me, and you can't do it for you either. All we can do is partner with God and say, Lord, here, my hands are open, my feet are willing, my heart is ready. And I'm not quite sure I know what all in is, but I yearn for it. I yearn for it. And so let the Holy Spirit work in me that I might take one little baby step today, this moment, that I might be all in for you. And then tomorrow, Lord, I pray that I might just be able to move out of the driver's seat for 5 more minutes. Because being all in is not a once and done effect. It's not just saying, Lord, I want you in my life. Thank you for being my Savior, and business as usual. Your salvation is a process. Being all in is a process of being consecrated, being set apart, and allowing God to do the work in you to make you holy. We have a motto here at Middlesex, and that is every member in ministry and mission. Because we value here, we understand that being all in means we have to put Jesus first. It's not about us. And so it takes each one of us doing something within the life of this church. We're not pew sitters. We just don't come on Sunday morning. It's not enough. And it's not about our doing. It's about where we align our priorities. And then the rest of that motto is that every one of us is searching for something out in our community that we can be involved in, that we can help the hurting, that we can bring hope to the lost, that we can befriend someone who has turned away from God or does not feel the love of God in their life. But the question remains, are we all in? And what do you and what do I need to do to be all in? As we celebrate communion, we're celebrating a God who is all in, who said, I am all in, to the point of giving us his Son, his only begotten Son. And when Jesus prayed and he said, Father, if this cup could pass from me, I would ask it, but not my will. I'm all in to your will. Jesus said, I am all in. As we celebrate communion today, we celebrate a God who is all in, and quite frankly, I can't imagine any other response but me saying, and I want to be all in too. And I'm a miserable specimen, oh God, for being all in. But my heart yearns to get out of the driver's seat and to just let you have a way in my life to begin to take over piece by piece, day by day, so that I hear you and I see you, and I'm faithful to you. Being all in might mean that you get up a little earlier in the morning to sit in the presence of God. Being all in might be that you step up and you talk to someone every week about what's going on in your life, that you say to someone else or to a small group, how is it with your soul? Because I care very deeply about your soul. How is it with you and your God? All in is about allowing God to speak into our lives and then being obedient. It's about coming up to this communion table and having our hands opened, just open, nothing else. And just saying, Lord, this is how I receive you. This is how I want my life to be. It doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that trouble won't come. But what we're promised, and the good news of the gospel is, when you deny yourself and you pick up the cross and you follow Jesus, you will have all you need. So will you be all in? As you come this morning and receive communion, I ask that that would be your heart and your posture. Let us pray. Holy God, we struggle. We struggle with surrendering even parts of our lives. We struggle surrendering our tithe. We struggle surrendering our time. We struggle surrendering our talents. We struggle surrendering our perspective on life. We struggle surrendering ourselves. And so we ask, work on our behalf, that you would work within us. And that this week we would take that tiniest step to say, Lord, our heart is yours. Help us to see, to hear, to do, to think, and to act. Be in the driver's seat, oh God. And help us to be content along the journey. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Our ushers.